Yes, we are live.
Hi.
Hey
We
there,
missed you guys.
friends. Brian Garcia here with
Erin, Nicole, Bick, and we are the Adventure Partners.
Welcome, welcome, everyone. How are you doing today?
Yeah, so nice to see ya. Today we're going to talk to you about creating incredible momentum in your life. Massive momentum. Once you start gaining speed, things start to get cray. Things start to get really exciting, my friends. And yeah, your energy changes, your energy shifts. We're going to talk today about putting yourself into situations that you maybe wouldn't, because here, I'm just gonna move this a little bit.
Cool.
Putting yourself into situations that you might be scared of because maybe you don't have enough money, maybe you've never done that before, but how worthwhile it is and how much your outcome changes and how things move tenfold when you put yourself in risky situations, or when you stretch yourself outside of your comfort zone. I want to say hey, first of all, to everybody who's jumping on. Hey Nadia, hey everybody else. Things are exciting. Things are really exciting right now. Brian and I are, first of all, in the most incredible place I think either one of us have ever seen.
Absolutely.
In our lives.
Freaking incredible.
Yeah.
That's
an
understatement.
We got here and we had a pretty wild realization. The realization being, holy shit, we've been manifesting this place. And this place is almost exactly our idea of what we want for our future home someday.
Yes. I think that it's uncanny how specific we've been with, just figuring out whatever it is that we're wanting in a place. We've been thinking about, okay, like, where is it that we want to be? Where do we want life to take us? Mm-hmm. And what's cool about all that is that we're showing other people to start dreaming again, start thinking about, hey, if you are to like imagine or to picture, where would you be? Who would you be there with?
Yeah.
What would it feel like? What would it smell like? What would it look like? Like, this is our view right behind us right now. We've got this private cove. I know it looks a little blown out right there because we've got the exposure set to us right now.
Yeah.
But like, just for a second, like if we go there, boop, coming back to us. Here we go. Just for a second, if you just take the time to imagine what it would be like in your life, what would your life be like, then what do you need to do to make that happen? What sort of shifts do you need to make in your mind, in your actions, in your day-to-day life, in what it is that you do, right?
Yeah. So when was the first time you think you made the shift? Like, and maybe what was happening in your life that made you make the shift?
Oh, wow. So it was back in November of 2015, right in between October and November 2015, when I was going through a rough time in my life.
Give us the juice. Give us a bit of the juice.
All right, here's the juice. I was married once, and for a few years, and had the rug pulled out from under me, so to speak, and I was devastated. And I was like, okay, well, what is it that I need to do in myself, in life, to be able to grow, within myself? And it was the personal development that I found that helped me make that shift. I found out that I needed to be a better communicator. I found out that I needed to learn to grow within myself, to be able to be worthy of, going out and making things happen and having this huge change in my life. And so it was November 2015 that I found the solution to that, and it was all in personal development. It was what I was doing in my personal life that unlocked the potential in my business life, so to speak, because I was in business at the time. I had started doing my business back in July of 2012, but I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. And I knew that, you know what, if I'm not getting the results now, then I probably need to do something to change. And that's when the massive shift started happening in my life, and I started doing the things different mentally for me.
Yeah. I really resonate with that.
So what was going on with you?
Resonate with that. When I started to make my big shift towards the same kinds of things as Brian, but the crazy thing is, we were both in different countries. We didn't even know each other at all.
Yeah.
And we were both going through hard stuff at the exact same time. I was in a rough relationship. I had already gotten myself off of drugs. I decided to sober myself up. So I was on that journey. Plus I was on a health journey, trying to, do the fitness thing, get my body in the right place and my mind in the right place. So I started tapping into personal development and started my own business. And the partner that I had at the time was not supportive with the business. He thought I was stupid. He thought, he said to me, who would invest in personal development?
Oh.
What people who are crazy need personal development, which is
that's what I thought.
which is fine.
I used to think that people with mental problems need personal development.
Yeah, and I actually thought that I had a mental problem, so I started tapping into personal development. But the cool thing that I realized was, once I started tapping into personal development, I started to realize that it wasn't all my problem, and personal development actually helped me set myself free from what was going on inside of me. Why do we do drugs? Why do we drink? Why do we compulsively shop? I was actually doing all of those things. I was shopping like a crazy person. I was, indulging in things to make myself feel better and comfort myself, because I was going through such a rough emotional time. So investing in myself and personal development is definitely the best move I ever made. And at that time, that just so happened to be the business that I got involved in, which was a great move for me. And it was really stretching me thin at that time. I didn't have any money. I ended up quitting my job, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna run with this thing, take this risk, because if I don't take this risk now, I will never get myself out of this situation and this unhappiness that I'm feeling. Because I was feeling unhappy. I was very unhappy. Like, it is not healthy. Looking back, it is not healthy to cry every day. It's not.
No.
It's not healthy to cry every day. It's, it's not healthy to sit there and feed yourself when you're feeling down and just, I was overeating, like all the things I was doing, I was going through a really tough time. So picking up that momentum and changing the speed, you have to shift. You have to do something different. If you don't do something different, nothing will change. So tapping into personal development, learning how to grow myself was the biggest challenge. And my business didn't go anywhere until I started figuring out this stuff.
So it sounds like when the shift happens, you invest in, essentially you're investing in your future, right?
Yeah.
And where you want your future to go, how you want it to look, if you're not like conscious of that and actually putting your body in motion to actually achieve those things, I mean, you could, like, anybody could get stuck in this rut and, like, essentially kind of like a downward spiral, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's a lot easier to be unhappy and miserable in yourself than it is to evolve and change. Like, the initial steps. Once you start moving forward, the momentum starts picking up and you're like, holy smokes, I feel great. Like, I remember that feeling, like that sudden feeling of confidence that I never had. I have never been a confident person. So all of a sudden having this confidence, all of a sudden feeling smarter, my vocabulary was getting bigger and better. And I was starting to see things that I never would have seen before, because personal development allowed me to take an outside view of what was going on in my life so that I could really get a perspective on all the key players in my life that were making me feel so unhappy. So once I started to see that, I started to be able to make even more decisions that started moving me forward. And those decisions were powerful, and they were those decisions were the things that broke me out of the negative habits and the negative patterns I was living.
So it's almost like, in order for this evolution to start taking place, in order to start creating this momentum in your life down whatever path it is you're going, like if it's in a self-development sort of thing, or if there's a cause that you're going after, or if you're just like stuck in a place that you're just like not happy with your surroundings, your job, you know, relationship, whatever it is, like it's almost like people have to place themselves. I know that I did. People have to place themselves in a spot where this growth can start being cultivated, where this growth can start like taking firm root. You know, it's almost like putting yourself in fertile soil, putting yourself in the right place where that can actually start taking root, right?
Yeah. I remember being at a personal development event, and the guy speaking, Shane Carter, he said something that really spoke to me. He was like, don't wait to invest in things that make you feel like your future self. So if you have this goal, I love this concept of the future self. Your future self is this idea that you have of what it would feel like to feel incredible. What it would feel like every day, pretty much, to feel incredible. What it would feel like to be vital, healthy, energetic, to wake up and be excited about what's going on in your life. He said, don't wait to start doing those things or investing in those things, because the more and more that you start living like that person, so you know, eating organic food, don't wait to invest in that. Don't wait to invest in personal development. Like, if you think like, hey, I can't afford that, invest in it, because that's what you need. For us, investing in our skill set has been the biggest thing when it comes to our business. Like, back in January, I remember, like, things were starting to move for us, but I remember being like, like, we were thinking about going to this workshop and being like, like, am I going to be stretched if I spend this money to go to this workshop to evolve our business? It was the smartest move that we've ever made. We got so much clarity. That's when we decided to merge our brand and to really run with Be Adventure Partners and ditch Brand Garcia Live and Ms. Bick, put them on the back burner, because we were pushing 3 trains down the track instead of 1. You got to get one thing going really good, and that is true to working on yourself as well. You can't make other people in your life feel happy. You have to make yourself feel happy.
Yeah, and the key to that is you've got to do this yourself. Like, no matter what you invest in, so let's say you invest in training, let's say you invest in the personal development, you're investing in either of those things in yourself. You can't expect other people to push your train down the track. This is something that has to happen for yourself. Like, if it's the personal development route, like, you can purchase amazing personal development, programs, but if you don't put in the time where you're actually doing the training, where you're actually getting on the webinars if they're live, getting on the webinars if they're pre-recorded, or listening to the audios,
podcasts,
doing the workbooks and stuff that goes with it. If you're not doing that yourself, no one else is. That's your temple that you're building up there. Even on the business side, let's say you're wanting to build a business. business in any niche. If you invest in the tools to make your business grow and you've got them in your hands, it's up to you to do the training. It's not up to anybody else to make it happen for you. If you've got the step-by-step approach and you're constantly asking questions, hey, I don't know where to start, I don't know where to start, and you've got it in your hand, that's probably where you need to start, is stop asking questions and just do what it is that you already invested in, because there's nothing that anybody could tell you what to do that is going to make it happen for you. And so this journey is each and every one of us, and it's when you start applying what you've already started. It's not chasing the freaking golden goose when you've got a nest full of golden eggs, because there's nothing else that's out there that's gonna keep on, like, you invest in something, you're like, oh, shiny object, shiny object, shiny object. That's not gonna cause growth in your life. It's taking what you have and focusing and like put blinders on so that you can focus and actually implement what it is that you're learning. Implement, you know, in your personal life, in your business life, in your relationships and all that. And it took me forever to figure that out. But guess what? Once I did figure that out and I stopped asking questions of all these other people around me, like, hey, how'd you make your business grow? How'd you do that? Like, instead of just saying, how'd you make your business grow? And someone gives you the answer. Hey, this is the training I did. Hey, how did you get such a positive mindset? How were you able to do whatever it is that you're doing to, you know, get in cool areas like this in your life? You know, be in cool locations like we're here in Nicaragua, you know? Why don't you take what you have and make it happen for you? Make it happen for your life, for your loved ones, because it's all about what you do in this moment today that's going to propel you into your future. That's going to start the train of massive action, of massive, like, results and massive, momentum.
No, it's huge.
It's interesting.
Huge. Like, okay, for instance, when I started my personal development journey, I remember being so pissed because I had spent so much money. I think I spent like $35,000 on this personal development education. It was cruises. It was everything. Like, I went in, full in, got the whole package. I was like, you know what? I need this. I'm going to submerge myself. Head first, I dove. I didn't even put my arms out. I just dove in with my head. No helmet. But just went in. And I remember being pissed off that it wasn't working fast enough for me. And then I stopped. I said, okay, what aren't you doing? I wasn't writing stuff down. I wasn't, like, taking the questions that they were saying. That's a huge part of personal development. It's asking yourself stronger, more powerful questions instead of really weak, vulnerable questions like, why is me? Why can't I do this? I don't understand. Why am I so stupid? Why am I so fat? Why am I so this or that? Stop asking yourself shitty questions. Number one. Number two, start asking yourself these beautiful questions and write this shit down. When you have a question like, how could I feel better? What would make you feel better? Start writing a list. If making yourself feel better is waking up a bit earlier so that you can fit in some yoga, so that you can pump out a HIIT routine, so that you can go to the gym. I mean, I started with 15-minute workout videos. 15 minutes, that's all it takes. If you have 15 minutes in your morning to make you feel better, if you think you don't, first of all, wake up earlier. You can wake up earlier. If you're like, oh, I don't really have time to make myself a healthy breakfast. Yes, you do. Wake up 30 minutes earlier so that you can make yourself a smoothie, make yourself eggs, whatever like that food is that makes you feel healthy and vital. You can wake up a little bit earlier. I started doing all those things. I started waking up at 6 a.m. so that I could start eating those things. Even though my partner at the time was still sleeping, I didn't care anymore. I was like, you know what? I can't live for you anymore. I have to start living for me. And if you can start living for you every single day, it will change your life. Because when you start living for you, the people in your life, they either come around or they don't. And if they don't, you need to change your circumstances.
Oh, yes.
You got to. I had to change my life. I had to make a tough decision because I wasn't willing to drag a dead body around with me anymore.
Yeah.
So you have to start making tough decisions so that you can start having the relationships that you want, so that you can start having the body that you want, the mindset that you want. All these things don't come to you unless you make some tough decisions so that you can have the things that you really, really want and the things that make you feel happy.
So what would be some, we just talked about questions that you're posing on yourself that are just like, woe is me questions. What would be some questions that you can ask that might be better questions asking of yourself?
Yeah, well, I guess better questions are, what do I need to learn? You might not know the answer to that, but you can start asking yourself that, and that will channel with the universe those answers to come to you. They might not come to you right now in this moment.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's the cool thing about it, is you start posing better questions, the universe will start giving. Constantly giving. The universe is so giving and so loving, and you have to trust that. So maybe trust is your issue. I remember trust was my biggest issue, and I started to say every day, I trust and believe in the power of the universe. So if you can borrow that. If you don't trust that your life is going to get better, it won't. So if trust is your issue, how can I trust more? If love is your issue, how can I love myself more?
Yeah. One of my favorite questions is, who must I become to be worthy of what it is I'm working towards? And when I say working towards, I'm talking about working towards personally, like personal development wise, working towards being of more value for our audience, for all of you.
How can I be more valuable?
How can I be more valuable? Be worthy of building the business that we've been developing and has been growing exponentially, which is a reason why we're able to, be the places we are, be with who we love, each other. And, so the questions that you ask yourself, just take it and flip the script just a little bit. Instead of being all like, why me, why this, why that, who must I become is super, super powerful, because we all, regardless of how much growth we've had in our lives, we all still have to continue growing in ourselves, because as you continue to grow, the universe keeps on serving you up more and serving you up more, and it keeps getting harder and harder. But the universe won't give you anything that you're not ready to actually take right now and implement. And, you're on this live right now because, you're following us, you're looking at the adventures that we go on, you're looking at the freaking crazy, amazing places that we're at, because you see in yourself the potential that, oh my gosh, these two people who are completely normal, a former hairstylist and a former firefighter, could do when neither of us have huge backgrounds in any of the stuff that we've implemented along the way. But the difference is we put ourselves in the situation, we put ourselves in a place so that things start just running at us, things start growing. So, for instance, I wanted to be more in myself, so what did I have to do? I had to get into personal development, so I started learning that. You have the same thing. I wanted to be able to learn to build a business online that is sustainable, that allows us to be able to travel. And originally, this was just for me. I was going through my divorce. I was by myself with my dog, and I was just all like, what is all of this? And so we didn't even know each other at the time, and I was wanting to grow, wanting to get out of this shitty situation and be able to have more freedom and be able to experience more. And it wasn't us together deciding this. It was me by myself alone. It wasn't until later that we met each other. And so it's just so cool that we were both on the same journey at the same time in parallel. We weren't on the same track. She was on her journey, I was on my journey. But what's cool about it is we both knew that we had to put ourselves in the situation to make it happen. And that's wild to think about how we both knew that had to happen in ourselves to make it happen, or it wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Another question to ask yourself, not how can I be more valuable? Let's dial that back. How can I see my value?
Ooh,
how can I see my beauty?
I love that one.
If you can see your value and see how beautiful you are in your soul, you know, what do you offer on a day-to-day? What am I good at? You're already good at things. You're already beautiful. You already are valuable.
Yeah.
So start pinpointing that stuff out and start being grateful for those things, because gratitude's where it begins. If you can really be like, hey, I'm grateful for this knowledge I have already. I'm grateful for, you know, the people in my life. I'm grateful for the support that I have. Or
grateful that I have the resources in my hands, and it's up to me to actually make it happen.
And to be grateful for even the smallest things. Because if you can go there and be like, you know what? I'm grateful that I have food on my plate right now. I'm grateful that the refrigerator works. Like, like stupid little things. Like, I'm grateful I have toothpaste today. Like,
I'm grateful we have Wi-Fi so we can get on this live with you, with all you beautiful people.
Like we're driving around today. I mean, we've been hanging out in countries that don't have a lot, and these people are super happy and they're grateful, and that comes from somewhere. That comes from a spiritual place, whether it's them believing in God or them believing in the universe or whatever. These people have these huge smiles on their face, and their living conditions to us don't look great. And we've been talking to people and they're happy. So find yourself that happy place. Find yourself that grateful place, because that starts to build your momentum too. And sometimes you have to start at the most basic place so that you can start building on that.
Yeah. So imagine a flywheel that is maybe like 20 feet in diameter, and you start to try to push this thing. If you go up to it and try to push it, you know, it's you know, a circular disc sort of thing. It's 20 foot in diameter, probably weighs like 2 tons or something like that. Big, massive metal or rock flywheel. And you try to push it just a little bit. And you push it for, you know, 10 seconds, and you're all like, this is hard, I'm not getting anywhere. And then you're just like, this doesn't work. That's quitting on yourself. Now let's say you push it all day long, and all of a sudden, you know, an hour into it, you feel it start to move just a little bit, and you push this flywheel, and it starts to move a little bit more, and every single day, consistently, you push it just a little bit. You just keep on putting pressure on it constantly. That's called consistency. So now this thing starts to move. It's not going fast, but it's starting to move, and now you let go for a second, and you're like, oh my gosh, this flywheel, it's moving just a little bit, and I'm not touching it, but it's still moving just a little bit. Now let's say that you go and every single day consistently you're pushing, you're adding pressure to it, you're starting to build this momentum, you're pushing and pushing. A week goes by, 2 weeks go by, you've got a little mark on there where you started, so you can see, because it's 20 feet, you know, 20 feet diameter, this thing's freaking huge, and this thing's it's a bright red mark on like this slate gray sort of thing, and you push it, and it starts to grow, and it starts to turn, and it starts to turn, and then one day, a month later, 2 months later, you see this red tick mark coming up because it's just made one revolution. And every single day you go to push it, it's still moving. And you push, and you push, and you push. And all of a sudden, it starts turning faster. This is momentum. This is inertia. It starts going faster. Whoosh. And then one day, it's like, oh, it didn't take a week for this to spin all the way around in a circle. I saw this red mark pass twice today. And then a week later, oh my gosh, I saw this red mark pass 5 times today. And now all of a sudden, you've got this unstoppable momentum. But every single day, you're pushing. You're pushing in your personal development. You're pushing in the development of your business. You're pushing in the direction of your life. You're pushing in your relationships to grow and to continue growing this momentum that does not stop, because every single day you're pushing and pushing and pushing, and you're growing and growing every single day. Every single day. Now, let's say that you started pushing this flywheel, the same flywheel, and it's been stopped, and you start pushing it, and you're pushing it, and it moves like a centimeter or so, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so hard, and you quit. Where do you think that your life would be 6 months from now, a year from now, if you quit at what it is that you're passionate about, what it is that your vision is about? What if you quit? In 6 months from now, you're going to be in the same position that you were in 6 months earlier. You're going to, maybe worse, could be worse, right?
Could be worse.
A year from now, could be worse. Now, let's say you did stay consistent in what it is that you're wanting to grow. You didn't freaking quit, and you kept on pushing because you knew that if you continue to push it, then momentum is going to start to grow. And guess what? What if you pushed for a year straight? What if you pushed for 2 years straight, and you got this thing going so fast, you got so much momentum in it, that if you went and put your hand on it to try to stop it, that it would rip your arm off, because you can't stop this machine that you built yourself, that you've taken action in your life to actually make happen. That's what I call momentum, and it is totally achievable. And the reason why it's achievable is because every single day, what you do right now paints your future, paints your, puts... Okay, so you've got a paint by number. You've got all these lines, all these little numbers everywhere, and you've got this palette of colors that you're sitting there painting and painting and painting. It starts to look like an actual picture. And you're the one who put the paint on there. You're the one who put the effort. You put the force into it to make it happen for yourself, because you had the tools, you had the paintbrush, you had the paint, and you had this canvas, you had this flywheel, and you just needed to push and push and push and paint and paint and paint. And guess what? All of a sudden, one day, you step back from this painting, you step back from this flywheel, and you see this flywheel spinning around. You see this painting that you were so close, it was like blotches of color, but you step back because all of a sudden you saw this masterpiece that you made that you may not have been able to see it right up here right close, because it was like these big blotches, but you step back for 1 second, you step back 20 feet to take a look at it, and it was something that is like, you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, I am so freaking happy that I spent the time, that I spent the consistency, that I spent the dedication to build, because it's these things that are in your life that every single day, regardless of if you know it or not, you're putting the paint on that canvas. You're pushing the pressure on that flywheel. And if your boat, your vehicle's not going in the right direction because you're just like, oh my gosh, woe is me, you're not pushing hard enough in the right direction that you need to go. You're not putting the paint on that canvas in the right spots. It's
that doesn't
time.
matter.
Yeah.
Like something that I thought about when you were talking about this paint thing, this paint analogy.
Love it.
Was, what if you run out of teal? What if you run out of pink and you maybe don't know how to make those colors?
Don't know how to mix it?
One, you got to be creative. You're either going to start getting creative, like, oh no, I'm running out of yellow. Oh no, I'm running out of this. You have to start being creative and making other colors. You have to start being resourceful, and like, say, if we don't know how to do something, we Google it. If we don't know, it was something to do with our business, we go into the training system and we learn it.
Yeah.
We look up that word. We search the key terms that we need to know. Maybe we don't know the word. We ask our friends.
We go in the group and ask.
Yeah. There's a huge community in our mastermind where we can go ask those questions. So if like, say that there's a travel thing that we're like, we don't really know. We know all kinds of digital nomads. We go ask them, hey, how did you guys get a visa for this? How did you cross the border here?
Yeah.
Like, all these things, you have to start to be resourceful. to do it yourself. You can do whatever you want. We all have the power in us to be masterful, to be the best version of ourselves. It's just pushing ourselves, like Brian was saying, every day, to be consistent with pushing yourself every single day to do something different, to wake up a different person than you were yesterday.
Yes.
If you can think, okay, say that you only have like 3 hours to sleep or something, and you got to get up and go do something bright and early. If you can think to yourself, hey, I'm going to have a really good nap, instead of, oh, this is going to be a short, shitty sleep, then you're going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed. But if you can be like, hey, I'm going to have a really good nap, and I'm going to wake up super vital, you're going to wake up super vital. And when you wake up and your feet hit the ground and you're like, hey, it's time to get back to this and start being consistent, start working on myself, my vision, things start to move for you.
Yes.
And you will be so surprised. Once you're on that consistent path of growth, things keep growing. As soon as you put the brakes on and you say, I can't do this, I don't know how to do this, you got to change those thoughts. That's the first thing, to change the thoughts, to start to be like, okay, you know what, I got this. How do I do this? Where can I find these resources? Who knows about this? You know, who's an expert in this? You start to ask those people, find those experts, make friends with them, start connecting, networking, start building relationships in better places instead of sitting on old relationships that keep you stuck.
Yeah.
Then you will grow.
And I think one of the key things also is not relying on where you're getting the information from for them to do it for you. Like, once they tell you, like once we talk with our mentors about what it is that we're trying to like dial in, we don't continue asking the same questions. We ask the question once and we implement, we make it happen, and we keep on making it happen. So if it's about, you know, building something out on a funnel or a website, something like that, we ask once and we make it happen. We continue to do it. We don't keep asking the same question. Hey, how do you do this? I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. Like,
I do have to admit, when I got started in my original business, I asked my mentor a lot of annoying questions, for sure, like without a doubt. But then I wasn't getting responses from her, so I had no choice but to become resourceful. So I started Googling things. I started, you know, reaching out and, you know, looking for sources for that. If I was like, you know, what's an autoresponder? What is, like, these words I had never heard, like in marketing, like I had no idea what a funnel was. What the hell's a funnel? You know, what the heck do I do with a Facebook ad? Like all these things. You don't need to know the answers right now, but you can find them. You know, as you ask those questions, you Google it, you do whatever, you will find your answers. Your answers will come to you. And I got lucky enough, like all these things, like I didn't know how to market my business, but then my friend Alex was like, you know, I saw what he was doing. I was really inspired, and I was like, what the heck are you doing? And he showed me the tools. He showed me the training. He said, you want to learn how to make your business grow? You need to learn how to be a professional. You need to learn how to brand yourself. Like, you're not going to have a good business unless you brand yourself. You're not going to have a good business unless you have a Facebook page, unless you start to build a website. I was like, I don't know how to do any of this. He's like, guess what? You can watch step-by-step videos that will teach you how to do that. And I was like, holy shit, where are the videos? Like, get me the videos, get me on board with this. I need to learn this because I want to be self-sufficient. I want to evolve in myself, my skills, my mind, so that I can become better.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the same with me too. And it was as soon as I was shown, hey, these are the tools to learn, that's when I stopped asking questions and I put my nose down and I did the videos. I watched them and rewatched them. Several of them I rewatched because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much to take in. I need to rewatch it, and every single time I was learning something else and it was starting to click. It was starting to click. So like, I didn't just watch it once. Sometimes there was like some, depending on what it was, like a lot of times some of like the Facebook stuff, business page, because you know, we build a business on our profile. It's the business page that we
Yeah.
do that on.
Yeah.
But learning how to do all that stuff,
And
it ended up being easy to learn because
Yeah.
it's normal speak and they show you what to do.
yeah, totally. They break it down more in layman's terms, so
Yeah.
so folks like me can understand.
And knuckle draggers like me.
Something that really helped me out was taking point form notes. I remember when I met Brian and I met my friend Alex, and these guys were giving me all this information, and I was like, I don't know what they're telling me. Like I was like, oh my God, and it's so much, and they were just giving me so much. I started taking point form notes of the things Brian said to me, and took out all the jibber jabber in between, and I started to say, okay, this is step 1, this is step 2, and just took these notes of things that I needed to do in order, because that's how they were giving it to me. They were giving me the answers in order, but when you have a big paragraph of text, like I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
So I started breaking things down, started being like, okay, number 1 thing I need to do, number 2 thing I need to do. And it really helped me start moving forward in my business.
Building momentum.
And then I started to feel fun, like I started to feel empowered. I started to feel a lot smarter. So you got to break it down for yourself, and be consistent with your actions, and just keep putting the pedal to the metal every single day. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody who's on right now.
Hey,
Nadia, Jim, saw Ed Hannah on. Ingrid,
hey girl,
what's
hey.
up? What's up, Anthony?
Yes, we had a cool
welcome.
crew.
And thanks for sharing. Blake, I saw him jump on. Thanks for the hearts. We love hearts. We love the smiley faces. The wow face is also fun. I really enjoy that one. Thanks for sharing too, if you got value from this. So we have one question on here, and I do want to answer this. Nadia, what's up, girl?
Hey, girl.
She says, how did you two meet? So we met in a group. Erin was asking questions, and we're both part of
Smarter questions.
Yeah, we're both part of an entrepreneurial group that there's about 20,000 or so professionals in there, who all have businesses online all over the world, and people go into that group to ask questions about building their blog out, about building funnels, about attraction marketing, target market audiences, like all sorts of different questions like that. So I'd go into that group and answer people's questions as frequently as I'm able to. And one day I was sitting at the fire station. This was back in February of 2016. And I was sitting there in the fire station and answering people's questions. It was like 11 p.m. or something, and I was on overtime, about to get sent home, and so I scroll through, answer questions, scroll through, answer more questions. So she was asking questions about how to set up certain thing on her blog for menu items, and so I was messaging her. Then it started getting like more complicated questions about it, like if-then scenarios, and so I said, hey, I'm about to get sent home from overtime at about midnight. If you're still up, we can jump on the phone while I'm on my hour commute back. Yeah, I used to commute an hour and 15 minutes. Luckily, I don't have to do that anymore. So we got on a call, and that's how we started connecting. She was asking questions, and so I told her exactly how to implement it all.
He answered my questions like a pro. And around the end of the conversation, he came up to a stop sign, he says, and all of a sudden he's like, holy smokes! He's like, an owl!
The biggest owl I've ever seen just swooped down right in front of my windshield.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, must be your spirit animal.
And I was like, oh.
He thought it was cute, probably, and I knew that meant something. Like, I was like, oh, like, I don't know whether that owl swooped down for him. Like, I know I was going through really tough stuff, and I was like, wow, like, I know owls are really wise, and I was like, maybe this is a breaking point for me. Like, maybe I can turn my life around now, because I was in a pretty desperate situation, and I had actually just joined the entrepreneur group, and I was like, oh my God, like, I need something, anything to start making my business work. And that was February of 2017?
February 17th, 2017.
February 17th?
Or 2016.
2016. Yeah.
We're in 2017.
Yeah. Owls,
Yeah, they are.
Huge spirit animal. So
it was really cool.
Yeah.
So about
and that started our momentum.
Yeah.
Speaking of momentum, and like, I had been asking the universe for just something, anything, to help me out, and that's when all of a sudden I fell into the lap of this entrepreneur group, and then I met Brian, and I started to see, you know, what a real man was like, and what, seriously, like I didn't know that Brian would be the man that I ended up with, but at that time, I was just like, wow, this is a beautiful example of a good man, you know, a man that has similar goals to me. It's not that the other man wasn't a good man, it's just he didn't have similar goals to me, he didn't have the same ambition as me, and I was looking for someone with ambition. I was looking for someone who was confident and had strength and that wanted to be with me, have real conversations with me. That was all part of the list of things that I was creating, that I was manifesting on my own goodwill, you know, and when I was doing the work with myself, and he was doing the exact same thing too. You know, once he was shattered, once he was heartbroken, he was like, okay, well, what do I want? What are the things that I want? So you have to start looking in the mirror and saying, hey, what is it that I want? What do I truly, genuinely want? What do I want to build for myself? How do I want to act, behave? You know, who do I want to show up as? And what kind of person do I want to be? So, yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it for today. We've been rambling on for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love you guys. We're like so pumped that you guys show up and you ask beautiful questions, and we're excited for you guys. We're excited for everybody that we connect with, and you don't attract people into, you attract people into your life for a reason. And when these people come into your life, like the people we're meeting are just so beautiful, such powerful creators and manifestors. It really shows that we're doing the work ourselves. So when you start doing the work and you start showing up and you start attracting information into your life, you know you're on the right track. And like the owl, you can start looking for signs and symbols in your life. Like a butterfly comes past you when things aren't going well, and you're just like, okay, I'm on the right track. A rainbow shows up. Okay, I'm on the right track. Find your symbols in life, and that's where momentum comes from, and your strength comes from that.
Yeah, so don't just sit on the fence whenever these things come into your life, especially when you recognize they're coming into your life. It is up to you to make your decisions, and it's up to you to implement what it is that you learn along the way, because that's, I mean, it's that realization that took me from struggling in life to being so successful that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I seriously have to keep on doing this that I'm doing, because it is creating such an awesome wake. It is creating such awesome like force in the waves that it's making a huge difference in so many other people's lives around us, and it's such a beautiful thing to see other people grow, other people building their brands, and you know, Nadia's got a beautiful brand that she's building.
Check out Nadia.
Yeah, she's super awesome.
Brilliant.
And other people, I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. But the difference is, like, people like Nadia are taking action in their lives because they see the bigger picture of what it is that they're wanting to contribute to society, to our earth, you know, and to mankind. And it's those realizations and it's that implementation that makes that happen for you and your sphere of influence all around you, for your audience, for people that you know. So take action on that. And you know, if you've got questions, definitely reach out to us. Add us as friends. If we're not friends on the FB, send us a freaking friend request, because we love connecting with people all over. And if you're trying to learn the tools and you're wanting to learn how to make it happen, like let's say that you've got a biz and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm not to the point that I want to be. Guess what? We've both been there, and we knew that we had to learn something different. So jump on the online workshop that we have. The link's in the post, because we dive into how to break all that down. And at the end, we get into, okay, so this is how you break it all down. What do I need to implement? Take advantage of that and jump on it. You know that you're worth it, and your family's worth it. So do it, because that's the only way that you're going to start to make a difference in your life, is doing.
Yeah, Full throttle.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go for it. Go do it for you. So one last thanks to everybody who's jumped on. Love you guys. Thanks for liking and sharing and following us.
Here on Be Adventure Partners.
We appreciate you. Run with your vision, you beautiful humans. And until next time, friends.
Adventure on.
Adventure on.
Have a good night
Love
or
ya.
day.
Bye.